Hey everybody, been playing the Battlefield Play4Free beta, and I figured I should give my thoughts on it. Let's go ahead and get started with graphics. It looks like Battlefield 2, only with lower res textures and really awful animations. I mean, Battlefield 2 didn't have great animations, but it had some, it had better animations than this. I mean, really, this one's got pretty bad ones. It's really weird because a lot of times you'll have a lot of graphical glitches, and that's a major problem in this. And like when you go to aim down the sights, it twitches a lot before you finally aim down the sights, and then you go back to aiming for, well, just moving around, and it's just it twitches in the transition back and forth, and it just drives me nuts. Animations, they feel like the guns have very little weight to them. And they react very little to what you're doing. I mean, they move a little bit, but they don't move all that much. Now, if you're just walking around, then they move a lot. But if you're reloading, for instance, they don't really move. And it's kind of like, okay, maybe you should try something different with that. Now, it should be noted that this was not DICE's fault. DICE has pretty much nothing to do with this game. In fact, this was by Easy Studios. And so it's an entirely, like, Electronic Arts funded thing. It's just basically their entire project. It's not DICE at all, and that's a major problem in here, and I'll get to that in a minute. But then you go to the sound design, which is it's all over the place. They have the voice acting from Bad Company 2, minus the cussing. So all the stuff you heard in Bad Company 2, you'll hear in this. They altered the voice tone slightly, I guess just to differentiate a little bit, but it's the same stuff. It's the same American and Russian voices, so it's the same stuff. And I can't really say too much about that. I mean, it worked okay in Bad Company 2, but in this one it just kind of feels like a rehash, and, well, that's because it is. Weapon sounds are really all over the place. The cannons and, of course, all that kind of stuff sound fine. They sound nice and beefy. But then you get to the weapons, like the handheld weapons, I mean, the small arms. And they're all over the place. Like, some weapons sound really powerful, some of them sound incredibly pathetic. And it really doesn't seem to make sense to me at all. Just this stark contrast, and they're all over the place. And the environmental sound effects, like when you're firing the weapons, like the person next to you firing that M16, for instance, it sounds pathetic. Then you fire it, and it's incredibly beefy. It's a hugely stark contrast. So that kind of bothers me, too. But what bothers me the most is just the gameplay itself. You can probably tell in this video that this game is horrendously laggy. I mean, beyond anything that I've really played before, except for maybe... Actually, I don't think I've played anything that's more laggy than this. At least in recent years. Maybe not before then, but in recent years, this is one of the laggiest games I've ever played. And I don't know if that's just because their servers suck. I don't know if it's because the matchmaking is horrendous. Cause it's horrible matchmaking. You don't get a server browser or any of that, or just even a lobby browser. You just click play, and it finds a game for you, and I've never, ever trusted matchmaking. It never worked in Modern Warfare 2, it doesn't work in Black Ops, and it definitely doesn't work in this. So, it's never worked in anything I've played it in, and I don't know why. It's like, how hard is it to do matchmaking on PC? Apparently practically impossible. So, instead of having this matchmaking system, they should at least have the option of being able to go in and find a lobby and join that. Or anything like that. Just the same problem happened with Battlefield Heroes, actually. And, because you'd try to join a game and it'd be horrendously laggy because the matchmaking sucked. And it sucks almost worse in this one, which is really bad. And, that's a problem. As for the gameplay itself, the maps are all rehashes from Battlefield 2. So if you play Battlefield 2, this is going to feel really familiar. The only difference is there are only two factions now. It's the US and Russia. So they've gone the Bad Company 2 route, and it's really stupid. You do have the leveling system. It works a little bit differently from what you might be expecting. Basically, when you level up in this game, you get points to put into skills that you have per class. Each class has a different set of skills. And it's basically 1 point per level, so you kind of have to be sparing with it. And you also get a certain amount of in-game currency. Now, you can also supplement this in-game currency with battle funds, which are basically the, I guess you could call them the Microsoft points, or the BioWare points of Battlefield, the Play4Free games anyway. And what those do, you can buy weapons for basically real life money, and weapons and apparel and everything. Because apparel you can only buy with the battle funds for some reason. Weapons you can buy with the in-game currency or the battle funds. And if you have the battle funds, you can actually buy the weapons permanently. Otherwise, they last a certain amount of time. And that's kind of a stupid little measure, but anyway. So, you sit there and you're like, okay, maybe I should just go in and use the in-game currency to buy things. Well, guess what? It takes forever to really get a decent enough amount of currency to properly buy the weapons and stuff. And here's another thing that's annoying. When you go to buy the weapons, you have to buy them per class. You can't just, say, buy an M1911 pistol and then use it on both your, say, sniper or your assault, which is what I did, actually. I did the sniper and the assault, recon and assault classes. And so, that's really annoying to me, but I don't know. Some people might like it. I don't know who would like it, but I'm pretty sure it's just an attempt to money grub, and it's really annoying. But there are 4 classes. You have the assault, the medic, the engineer, and the recon. They all work the same as in Battlefield Bad Company 2, except the assault no longer has a grenade launcher. Now, I know that on the M16 there is a model for a grenade launcher, but you can't use it. It's really stupid. And there's no cover destruction or any of that, so it basically plays a lot like the older Battlefield games in some regards, but in other regards it plays like the newer ones, like, for instance, the knife. It's in the 3rd slot for some weird reason, which is really awkward, but when you use it, you hit the button, you actually just slash immediately, and it's an instant kill if you hit something with it. But, it's really awkward to use that knife, actually, just because of the placement of the button and what it defaults to. It's really weird controls. But control-wise, it functions a lot like Battlefield 2, except you have infinite sprinting, and you can't go to prone. So, that's how that works. And you can't change your fire rate on your weapons either. Speaking of weapons, here's something that really gets me really annoyed with this game. The weapons are horrendously unbalanced. You see me using the M16, the M1911, and the M24, all veteran versions in this video. And the normal versions of the weapons are basically what you'd see in, say, Bad Company 2. Whereas the veteran either does more damage, has a higher rate of fire, has less bullet drop-off, has more ammunition in the magazine, that sort of thing. So they're kind of like the cheap version. Well, they're more expensive, but they're the more overpowered, I guess is what the proper term I'm looking for is. And you start off with, if say you're the assault, you start off with a G3, and every class starts with the M9 pistol. M9 pistol is more accurate than the G3, and at much longer ranges, which makes absolutely no sense to me. G3 is an assault rifle, and in real life it's actually quite an accurate weapon. In fact, Call of Duty 4 had the accuracy really well done, because, I mean, well, it was more accurate than the other weapons. But, actually that was laser accurate, so never mind that. But, the G3 is a very accurate assault rifle in real life. In Battlefield Play4Free, it is horribly inaccurate. You can be within 50 feet, empty a magazine on somebody, and maybe hit them 4 or 5 times, just because it's horribly inaccurate. And that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, granted, it does do a decent amount of damage, so you don't really need all that many hits on target to take somebody down, but still. And then you have the SV98 sniper rifle. Now, no, I only played as recon and assault. You actually need to spend battle funds, which are real money, to get extra character slots, which is incredibly stupid. But anyway, when you go to the recon class, you get the SV98 sniper rifle. And it's horrendously inaccurate, too. It's got 4 rounds. It does barely any damage compared to every other sniper rifle in the game, actually. And so you end up having these horribly underpowered weapons as the defaults and as the things that you always have. So you're always going to opt for the more expensive yet overpowered weapons. So anybody who's advanced pretty far in the game and has a lot of the in-game currency or the battle funds, they have a massive advantage. It's really bad. The same problem with Battlefield Heroes. I mean, except Battlefield Heroes is much, much worse. Because in Battlefield Play4Free, you can actually kind of work around it a little bit. Because the player base is kind of unskilled and really, they just don't really know what they're doing. But you go to, you get people who really know what they're doing, and you'll get annihilated every single time. I mean, you can see in this video just how kind of overpowered the veteran weapons are, especially. I mean, and that's what a lot of people opt for, is the veteran weapons, just because they're so ridiculously powerful. And so, overall, Battlefield Play4Free is a terrible game. There's no getting around it. I know it's an open beta, and I'm probably being kind of harsh here, but still, even for an open beta, it shouldn't be this bad. I mean, honestly. How do you screw up Battlefield 2? It boggles my mind. And somehow they managed to do it by making it play for free, by making the weapons horrendously unbalanced, by, I mean, vehicles aren't that bad. I mean, they just function like pretty much any other Battlefield game, so you don't really need to worry about those. But, I mean, it's horrible. And nobody seems to really know what they're doing in this game. It's like, okay, we capture the points, but nobody really seems to know what their class actually is for or anything. And unlike Bad Company 2, you don't have people blasting RPGs at everybody, but still. Overall, avoid Battlefield Play4Free if you can help it. If you have Battlefield 2, definitely avoid it. Just play Battlefield 2. It's a vastly superior game. In fact, all the Battlefield games are vastly superior to it. Maybe even Battlefield Vietnam, and I hate that game. But, so, if you're a Battlefield fan, definitely avoid it. If you're thinking about getting into Battlefield, still avoid it. So, that's what I think about this. And I'll catch you guys in later videos.